Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Mayor Garcia, myself, and the selection committee for the Holyoke Police Chief, we are glad you're here this evening, and this is what we call a listening session. So we're here to listen to you, the people in the audience and the people that are at home that are logging on right now. We're here to listen to you as to what you would like to see in your next police chief. Before we get started, my name is Russ Stevens, and I'm from Public Safety Consultants. Public Safety Consultants is the consultant firm that's been hired by the city to assist them with their search process for the next police chief. I'd also like to start off with the introduction of the Police Chief Selection Committee. Start off with the left, please.
Hi, my name is Colleen Chesmore. I'm a Holyoke resident for the past 24 years, and I am a registered respiratory therapist, and I've been with the committee since we formed a few years ago.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dorothy Beeben, and I'm a Holyoke police officer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Zerhide. I'm a sergeant with the Holyoke Police Department.
My name is Alan Fletcher, and I'm a retired 43-year member of the Holyoke Police Department, rank of captain.
Hello, I'm Kelly Curran, the Personnel Director for the City of Holyoke and also a city resident.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Keat. I'm a community member and resident of Holyoke, and I've been on the board as long as Colleen from the inception.
Hello, my name is Keilana Rivera. I am a resident of Holyoke, and I am part of the Community Police Relations Committee since July 2021. Yes, we have.
Hello, my name is Rosiana Lopez. I'm also part of the committee, one of the original members. I'm a resident here in Holyoke. I've moved here since I was 16. I'm also involved in other things in the community, so this is important to me.
Thank you, and again, thank you for everyone attending today. We'll be walking around the room with 2 microphones, and we're going to pose some questions. We'd like to get some feedback from you. Try to limit your responses to 3 minutes. We have some people that are also online that we have to let in. For those people that are at home that couldn't be with us today, join us in person today, please raise your hands online, and then Kelly's going to let you in to answer some questions. First, to start off with, what do you, as Holyoke residents, see as the challenges in the city, and what would you like the new police chief to address? If you'd raise your hand, we'll come over with the microphone, or for those that are online, you can answer by raising your hand. Try to limit it again to 3 minutes worth of your comments, please. Anyone from the audience?
I can't let you hold it.
Oh, no, you can't. I don't need to hold it. Is, oh, man. All right. So my name is Israel Rivera. I am also a resident of the city of Holyoke. I'm also ex-felon, too, just to put it out there. But I think for me, the question for the next chief should be, or the idea, or their main background, strategic planning for the future. Right? What are we doing to build towards improving our organizational structure, our infrastructure? What are we doing to get to the points, or even build a plan to get to the point of being able to get accredited, right? There are a variety of points that were pointed out within the study that was done. And one of the main things for me is culture. And within the culture, it seems like it's divided within the officers within themselves. Whomever the next person is needs to have a form of attitude that can bring people together, but not just that. The most important piece for us is crossing the I's and dotting the T's. Organizational structure, cutting back on overtime, improving on injured on duties as much as you can. There are a variety of different organizational goals that we got to attain, and this person has to be able to see 4 or 5 years into the future to do that. Policing is awesome. We have great police, in my opinion, that here. I mean, I know people don't really agree with it or don't believe that I believe that, but that's not what the chief should be in charge of, more or less. The chief should be in charge of the political aspect of the role of being able to organize the police and building out the structure for the police so that they can do their job in a more effective and efficient way. At least for me, that's the way I see it. Because we have captains, we have lieutenants, we have sergeants. There's a variety of different police, right? We don't have someone that's actually a public administrator. And that's what we kind of need, someone in that role that can do that and bring it all together and tie it all up and then put a nice little bow tie on it and present it to City Council.
Thank you. Anyone else?
You sure? Because we were kind of like fighting for it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Steve Superbo, 17 Glen Street. I'd like to see someone from the outside. I'd also like to see a reform-minded individual. I've lived here for 36 years. I served on the Northampton Police Department for 30 years. Within the last 8 years or so, I've been calling the police for service and have been generally unsatisfied with the performance. I filed a complaint in 2021 with the department alleging employee misconduct, and the chief declined to investigate. So I just and I've read the police risk analysis report, and there's a lot of management issues in there that to date haven't been addressed, such as back before 2001, there were scandals in the department where money was taken from drug accounts. When the consultants for the police risk analysis who were in there, they found that there still was not policies and procedures for handling money. I'm floored by that. So again, I think it needs to be a reform-minded person.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else would like to talk to that topic?
Hi, my name is Teresa Cooper Gordon. I live 5052 Parker Street here in Holyoke. I'd like to see anybody who comes in this position, that they take a real look at the audit that was done, and that we look at the things that we really do need to enhance in our community from that audit. And that leadership has to be the one to take that audit and really do something with it in terms of those types of enhancements. We know what the audit says. There's a lot of things in there that do need to be done. And I think that if we work on having somebody read that audit before we even talk about hiring, all the people who come, they should read that audit. And they should be able to tell us, with things that are in those audits, what they would do in terms of making those changes.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Please, by all means.
I believe that the audit, and you can correct me, everything that we've been working on has been posted for the community to see, things that they've worked on, checked off the list of things that they found needed to be addressed. Is that right? Yeah.
Hello. Yes, just to speak further, when it comes to that audit that's being mentioned, that audit is online. You can view it, but on the Holyoke Police website, holyokepd.org, on there is a list that was updated. We actually updated it earlier today, and it's color coded: green, yellow, red. Red is long-term projects that are going to take some time. Yellow is intermediate, things that we're working on right now, and green is things that have been accomplished since the audit. I'll follow up with you in 1 second. And I do know with the new interim chief that just came in, Chief Cruz, he is working on that diligently, and he'll be updating it with additional aspects that he sees fit in the near future. Did you have a follow-up question?
Your point, Sergeant Zerhide. It's been 18 months since the police risk analysis report came out, and I don't see any substantive things done. For example, you're in the newspaper regarding a field training mentorship. That's not a field training officer program. So, I mean, you can expound upon that, because that's the only substantive thing I saw, and I don't believe that it's a field training officer program. But beyond that, I don't see any other substantive stuff. I see where they maybe fixed air conditioning in a car or replacing some 20-year-old cars. All low-hanging fruit per Mayor Garcia. That's what he was quoted in. And again, he's quoted as saying there was a lot of things taken care of. I don't see it in that newspaper article.
And what I want to do now is we have some callers at home.
Yeah, and I just want to stick to what we want to see in the next police chief, not what the current people we feel aren't doing or doing. Thank you. Councilor Givner?
Hi, thank you. So this is Cocaine Givner. Can you all hear me? Okay, thanks. I just wanted to mention, because as many know, I care a lot about our traffic issues. I've been fighting really hard for speed humps and all kinds of things that I know cost a lot of money. But in addition to that, I would really like to see a police chief take our traffic very seriously. We have way too many accidents involving pedestrians, bicyclists, cars, of course. But we have a lot of kids in our community, especially, you know, in the center of town that's highly populated. So I'd really like to see a police chief come in and take our traffic safety a lot more seriously. I'd like to see more ticketing. I mean, even today I saw 2 people run 1 red light that I was sitting at. So, and I see it every day. I was on my motorcycle recently and saw somebody run the red light in front of City Hall on Dwight Street. So, you know, these are really dangerous streets to be a pedestrian, a child, a grandmother, a dog walker on. And I'd really like to see a new chief take that very seriously. And additionally, of course, I would love to see whoever comes in really study the audit and take that seriously as well, because we spend a lot of money on these studies and audits. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of our community doesn't feel like they're taken seriously or being even looked at. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So to everyone out here, what do you see as the desired leadership skill and characteristics that you would like to see in your next police chief? Tough question. Desired leadership skills and characteristics. Again, we're talking about your incoming police chief, who's one of the largest figures in any city or town. What would you like to see? Please.
Don't touch my face. I just don't like somebody putting it in my face.
I know, I feel that. Just pretend you're Amori. You're not the dad.
Okay. So I think for me is cool, calm, and collective, no matter the circumstance of the situation. There's going to be times where they'll be pressed, just like Josh is pressed, right? And they need to be able to be cool, calm, and collective. You can tell when they're being pressed, when they're not cool, calm, and collective, whether they throw a snide remark within the response, or they just brush you off just by saying yes, and then the next meeting it's the same question and it's the same thing all over again. For me, it's about being genuine to the utmost as much as you can, and upholding the law to the best of your abilities, and even if it means taking one of your brothers to the accountability. That's one of the things that has been an issue for a long time. I don't put it out there like that, but it's being able to hold each other accountable the same way you hold residents accountable. But yeah, cool, calm, and collective is the most important piece, handling themselves, and being able to display the leadership that they want to see their officers display within the community, within themselves. I don't always agree with our mayor on a lot of policies, right? We agree sometimes and we don't, but where I do respect him is how he handles and he manages the response of the community, the response of me, and the response of other people. It's always about trying to bring people together and hearing everyone out, and hopefully the next person can do that too as well.
Okay, we got this gentleman right here. Then we got you, young lady, and then we have Miss Patty. Here you go, sir.
So mine's brief. I'd like to see a community-oriented person, and I'd like to see someone communicative. Presently, we don't get any information out of City Hall or the police department, and we should be apprised of developments in the community.
Thank you. I'd like to see the new leadership definitely work on what community policing is. Community is extremely important, and in order for us to change our community and for the officers who work in our community to know the community, they have to be in the community. So I would really love to see patrolmen walking the communities and getting to know the people in the community, which will also clean up our community. Because when you see that kind of unity, people have to go other places and decide that they can't be in this community. So that's very important for me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patty Devine, 58 Magnolia Avenue. I'm also a city councilor at large. And first of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for participating in this program. I think it's important. I also think I understand people's opinion, but it bothers me when people are so negative against the police. They have a tough job to do, and we need to give them the skills, we need to give them the equipment, we need to give them the training, and we need to support them. And I don't know that we always do that. I would like to see a police chief that is, if it's from within, that it's at least a captain, preferably bilingual. And I think that we got to, just my opinion, got to tone down this anger a little bit that I'm hearing tonight. So.
Hi, my name is Natalia Munoz. I live at 247 Walnut. I want to support the people who are calling for more community-minded police chief, and I think for me that means, and I know the new police chief would be so busy already, but to have a monthly open hours where anybody from the community can meet the police chief at City Hall and City Council chambers, and not as a formal meeting, but just as being accessible to people and not have it be, you know, oh, okay, we have our bullseye, you know, on the 10th of every month in City Hall, but for people who may not feel safe or going into the police station or calling up. I know that I call the police frequently because of things that happen in my neighborhood, and like Patty, I always get the greatest service. I think that'd be really cool if a police chief were available on a monthly basis to the public at large. Thank you.
Anyone else on that? So let's talk about visibility. How do you feel? Do you want to see your chief more in the community? Is it more important for you as people from Holyoke residents to see your chief in the community or see the police officers in the community? Is one more important than the other?
I think both are important, and I agree with what Natalia said. It would be good if the chief perhaps had office hours. City Council chambers is available, plus it's televised, so you can get on Zoom, and it can be translated as well. So I think either police officer or a chief or both, it's a good way of communicating. One of the other things that we have a problem with, we don't have a daily newspaper. We don't, you know, we get the Republican, it rarely has any stories about Holyoke unless it's bad. So the Holyoke Sun's been pretty good about getting some information out, but I'd like to see the chief and perhaps a police officer of his choosing and maybe change it up every month and have it in City Council chambers.
So with the, and if I'm hearing correctly, a lot of what you all are talking about is community policing in its truest form. Have a police officer walking down in a beat, meet and greet, get to know the people that you're involved in, your citizenship. By getting to know them, it also deters crime. Omnipresence deters crime. Get to know the people you're working with, not necessarily for, because we, the police, work for the people in the town. Office hours are important, and having the chief have office hours, open doors, maybe to your point, doing it in the council is important as well, and having different people be there, different ranks be there as well. How about social media, the presence of the police on social media? Do you as citizens feel that you're getting enough information from the police on social media? Keeping in mind, police, we're limited on what information we can give you based on what's going on. If it's an open investigation, we're limited by the district attorney's office on what we can speak about. But there are other community events we can't speak about. Would you like to see more police presence on social media? Or it may not mean anything to you, honestly.
I would say there's already a lot of police presence on social media. I think what I would like to see more is more positive being shared from the police department itself. It's not about people being angry, it's about how they approach policing, right? There's a way to build up community and there's a way to tear down community. And for me, it's about building up community, someone that's community minded, that's actually in tune with what's happening on the ground within the communities that they're working in. It's hard to have that when a lot of our police officers are not necessarily living within the communities. The grateful piece is that a lot of them hail from our community. I love that when I see police officers at 1 in the morning, because I'm out there at 1 in the morning. I'm out there at 3 in the morning sometimes. They're police officers that I know that went to the Boys and Girls Club and they were my kids when I used to work at the Boys and Girls Club. Or they're people that went to school with my brother or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So that's welcoming, and I like that. But I think for me, like the most important piece with community and with social media is if we're doing a bust of like 40 people and you're posting pictures of all of them and they all look black and brown and 60% of our community is black or brown, what is that? What is the message we're sending to the rest of the community in Western Mass when we show that? So to me, it's like there's gotta be a balance, and I've had the conversations myself with regards to social media management. So yes, let's get the information out there and let's be transparent, but let's not only use that as a tool to kind of like criminalize certain people, because most of the people that are being arrested, I'm not gonna lie to you, like they usually have addiction issues that you're posting out there. It's not like you're getting all the big fish all the time, and when you do, it's great, but like you're mostly posting people that have addiction issues. So we're not only continuing the stigma, right, but like for us, it's continuing the stigma around being in Holyoke. So how we manage that, yes, we should use social media, but in a way that creates more positive outcomes. That's just my opinion, though.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't follow so much the police department on social media. I know, for instance, there's some really awesome police officers, and I think what I would like to see, and I'm a reporter here at Holyoke Media, what I would like to see on the social media, and maybe it's happening already, so forgive me, is a lot of positive information that the police department is doing. Whether it's going, through neighborhoods, handing out information about services for people who have addiction or people who know people with addiction, whether it's their outstanding officers working with the youths at the high school or at the Boys and Girls Club. I think that helps build community, because as Patty said, if you want to know what terrible thing happened in Holyoke, just go to the Republican or Mass Life. But if you want to know good stuff, yeah, the Holyoke Sun, but also that's a way for the police department to be in charge of the narrative. And that's something that could help me when I want to do stories about the work that the police department is doing. Okay, nobody's writing down what I'm saying. So I'm just counting on everybody will remember, Kelly. Okay. I'm kidding. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
There used to be, where the police officers, each ward that there were what they called these meetings, monthly meetings, and they would have the people in those wards would come out and they would meet with the police chief, that he would be there, and there would be other officers there with people in the community to update, to hear concerns in the community. When you spoke about the audit that's on the police department's page, well, how many people actually go and read the police department's page? So if we had those kind of meetings, or the kind of meeting that Natalia's talking about, you know, where people can come and meet the chief, where we can go in the community and hand out information and say, this is what we've done, this is what happened with the audit, and this is where we are now. Again, it's the communication, and again, you're bringing the community together in a unified fashion and in a positive kind of way.
I think Teresa's absolutely correct, and I understand the question around social media. I think there's a role for social media, and I think I come from education, and if you're going to run that aspect of this like you were in education, you would have really clear and transparent goals, and you would say, we want to increase the number of tickets that are occurring, and we want to increase it by 10% by the end of the year. We started with X number of tickets that we collected last year. We want to make sure that we increase that by 10%, and we want to make sure that it's across all wards, or we want to make sure that we're really highlighting these 8 streets that are problematic streets. And then every month, you would have a post, and you would say, here's our progress towards that goal. That would be real information that you could give the public, and they would care, they could understand it, it would be transparent. That would be really helpful. But I honestly believe that beyond social media, there is just nothing that will replace face-to-face contact and real conversations with the community. And I was going to have a parallel suggestion to what we just heard, which is bringing back the ward meetings and having them really frequently. Maybe that is a bi-monthly piece, and 3 wards are 1 month and 4 wards are the other, but really having frequent ward meetings and bringing that structure back. Because there's been ebbs and flows over the years, and I think it's really important for us to have more dialogue between the police department and the people in the neighborhoods. They know what their issues are. They're very much aware of them, and they want to feel like they're in partnership with people who are helping them have the quality of life they deserve.
Anyone else on that? Oh, please.
Hi, Linda Pratt. I'm a community member. I live at 39 St. Colby. I completely agree with the comments that have been made about a police chief who really encourages face-to-face interactions with the community. Recently, I live in the downtown area of Holyoke, and recently I saw an officer in my neighborhood. He was attending to a tree that had fallen. And there was a gentleman a couple doors down who was obviously under the influence. I mean, all of us who live here in Holyoke, we see these individuals. We know that there's a lot of concern. And this guy was wandering into the street, so I asked the officer to check on him, and his response to me, before he knew I lived downtown, was, "Welcome to downtown Holyoke." So I really think we need a police chief who is going to encourage communication and expect that officers in all parts of our city are treating everyone they encounter with the same level of respect.
Thank you. What issues would you advise a police chief to focus on during his or her first year as police chief? And we've covered a lot of different things, and we can say, well, we hit a lot of them, but if you had one issue that you would think the chief should be focusing on in his or her first year, what would that be?
I would say training on all levels.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would go back to my original point with organizational structure, because the organizational structure would kind of solve a lot of all of that. It would cover the training, it would cover whatever goals we have at accreditation, if we have those. Wherever it's at, someone that comes in and says, I gotta literally ship, I gotta write this ship. So that way, not only are we getting a better organizational structure, but we're also saving money and making it an efficient and effective police force versus we give them a significant amount of money out of our budget, to be honest, and not to say that they're not doing what they can with it and they're going to need significant more, but the idea is when you do need more, can you prove to us where you need more and how you need more? Like present to us the plan strategically and how you're going to spend that money. So to me, is with that organizational structure, you can have that strategic forward thinking.
So fiscal accountability.
That.
Add this, one of the things out of the audit that came out of the audit was the fact that we don't have a lot of money in training for the police officers. And I mean, that's extremely important, that we need to have the money for the training. We can't hold anybody accountable if we're not giving them the training that's necessary for them to make the change and to be able to function in our community. The other concern that I have is we have a municipality. I think we have an ordinance that says that you should live here in the community.
A city ordinance? Yeah, for the police chief.
Yes, yeah, yes. So I mean, I think that that's important, and we should definitely make sure that that is real.
That's also in the job announcement too. On the posting
Yes.
itself, it's also listed in there as one of the criteria.
But you know, I mean,
Make sure it's real and not on paper.
Exactly.
I understand.
Exactly. We need to know, you know, yeah, just like they know where we live, we should know where certain people live too, here in Holyoke. Thank you.
I want to echo what's been said about training and accountability. The percentage of respondents on the police audit survey who said that they felt like they did not have the training that they needed to have in order to do their job well was stark. And I do think that is tied in some ways to lack of training, but I also think in some ways it's a lack of understanding their purpose. Someone who might say, well, that person crossing the street, that's not on me. Is it on them or not? I think some clarity around what is the purpose of our police force? What are we asking them to do? What is the job? And then training them for that. I have talked to many police officers who have said, I don't know what to do about that man crossing the street. I have never received training on what to do. I don't know what I should be doing. So I think training goes way beyond. When we ask about training, often what we hear back is information around the police academy, around firearms training, but there's a deeper level of training that needs to occur in our city around how to work with all of the things that we need our police officers to do if they're going to be truly in the community and of the community. So I feel like an understanding of like what is the full job description here holistically, and then what's the training that they need in order to do the job well.
Thank you.
I should have said this earlier. I appreciate the work that you're all doing. And for people here, I appreciate you all being here and stating your views. I think it's only been in the last 5 years we've had 2 police chiefs that if they arrive, they're appointed, and then like 2 or 3 years later, they retire. And it's happened twice in the last 5 years or so, correct? I think it'd be really great that the next police chief be committed to Holyoke, have a vision for Holyoke, for what it means to police in Holyoke, whoever those candidates are, and they come with their own vision of what a great police chief is. I hope that would include, I have a vision for the city of Holyoke, not just for the next 2 years that I'm here before I retire, but for the next 5 or 10 years. And it doesn't mean that they're staying for that long, but it means that they have a vision that goes out that far. Thank you.
I think one of the important things is accessibility, certainly. And I should have complimented Holyoke Media because they do have not only this meeting, they do the city council meetings. I believe you do the school committee meetings. And I don't know who's behind me, but this place should be packed when you think about it. So why aren't people getting that information that there was this meeting tonight? I don't think it's because they weren't interested. It's just so difficult without a newspaper. But Holyoke Media is one of the best. It does interviews, it has shows, it has many, many different things. So I wanted to thank Holyoke Media. She's the best. Everybody is. And that's important. And I think having the police chief, even the one that we have now, not a new one, go on Holyoke Media. Take some questions to the audience. Let us know who he is. Just the other day when school started, I was lucky enough to be at Sullivan School. The chief was right next to me welcoming the kids, and Lieutenant Leahy was next to me on the other side welcoming the kids. And I think those types of things are really, really important. So.
We have someone online. I want to.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I wanted to just mention that I do think it would be really important to have a chief who's recruiting more from Holyoke. I know that was mentioned, but I think a lot of problems could be solved, or perceived problems, and things that are in the audit that the public sees as problematic for neighborhoods, if we had more community. And I feel like it's definitely easier to build community when you have locals surveying. So just like our other public servants, like city councilors, I think it's really important that the people who work in Holyoke live in Holyoke, because if you live here and you work here, I just think you care more by default. So I'd love to see that be a priority for the next police chief, to hire in the city, recruit more in the city. Thanks.
I'd just like to reiterate what you said. Yeah, the last two police chiefs were 3 years each. And prior to that, it was a 7-year, and before that, 10 years. And that's really important that they're around for more than 3 years.
So with the police chief being here longer, we look at stability. Longevity brings stability. And I think that's what we're looking for as well. Okay. So we represent the mayor's office, or the committee represents the mayor's office. And the mayor put the committee together to hear from you people. And is there anything else that you could tell us that we should know, or they should know as a committee, for the mayor? Is there anything else that we could say that we should make the mayor aware of, that so the mayor makes the right decision?
I just had one question for all of you guys. What are you guys looking for in the next chief? Because most of you guys either are residents within the city or are working within the city, and you actually get to make the decision or have a vote. So to me, it's what are you guys looking for? Because for us, it's a listening session, advisory. What are you guys looking for? Because that's what's more important, to be honest.
Start on that end.
Like I've heard out there from other people, somebody who's calm, cool in a tough situation or stressful situation. Obviously, consistency throughout the department. Treat everybody as an equal. It's a tough job, obviously. Longevity would be greatly appreciated if we had somebody in longer than 3 years. And my biggest concern in the city is crime. I mean, I know traffic's important and other issues, but if we don't get a handle on the crime, the drugs, the gangs, we're going to be, I mean, I've been here for 25 years and nothing's changed in 25 years. It's the same crime, right? And that's the part that you hear from other people outside of the city. They're afraid to come to Holyoke, so we have to change that. We have to make it, we all know it's a great place to live because we've been here for 25 years. But we just have to have a chief that supports the community and listens and is consistent, I think.
Hello. So, as most of you know, I do work at the Holyoke Police Department, and a lot of your comments tonight, I appreciate, and I want the same thing as pretty much everything everyone said here tonight. But I believe myself and Councilmember Israel Rivera have kind of the same viewpoint. I think we have, at the Holyoke Police Department, we have amazing captains, we have very strong lieutenants, awesome sergeants, and great patrolmen. But at the chief level, we need somebody that can plan strategically, look for the future, and kind of put those pieces into place. The chief doesn't necessarily have to run who's in patrol today, who's doing this spot. We can delegate that to the rank that it should be under. But the chief should be at the top, kind of making sure all the chess pieces are in movement and really looking for the future.
I think also a way of communicating is to have our current chief, Cruz, and the mayor perhaps do a show on Holyoke Media that people can watch, or have them both come in here. And it's just so difficult to notify people. The only thing I think of that everybody pretty much in the city of Holyoke gets is a gas and electric bill. And they get the little handout and tells you what's going on in the community. And I can't imagine that if you asked Mr. Lavelle if he could put a little blurb in that newsletter from the G&E, that he would probably do that, because most people do get a bill, most people do get this pamphlet as well as online. So that's just a thought to communicate.
That's a great idea, Patty. Rosanna, can you hold so the rest of the panel can answer Izzy's question?
Hey, my name is Alan Fletcher, and I was on the police department for 43 years plus. I held every position except chief. I think I made more money than the chief, but I was the first training sergeant in the police department. The department was very well trained. I was probably the first grant writer. Again, I had the ability to write grants because I went to college and I took grant writing as one of my courses. But and I wrote educational grants for after-school learning programs for the police department with the help of the public school superintendent and the school committee. And we had them in the Teffer departments, and I had one over at the apartments, the Lyman Terrace. I had one at Grant and at Jackson Parkway. And that was pretty successful. That lasted for 2 years. I had to write a grant every year. We wrote a grant for the AIR program, drug abuse resistance education. That was pretty big grant. We had a summer camp program, and they used the city of Holyoke's summer camp program as a model for the state. So I thought that was pretty good. The average life of its police chief in the city of Holyoke, now I've been here many, many years, is approximately 39 months. Chief Scott lasted 10 years, and he was pretty effective. One of the reasons he was effective, and you know, a lot of people don't realize it, he was able to fund the police department. He was able to fund the programs that you people are talking about tonight, community policing. He had me doing Take Back Our Streets. We had all these programs going, and we also had some drug initiative programs going too to help people who are addicted to drugs. And right now we still have one of the biggest ones in the country. Actually, one of the models is the city of Holyoke, and that's a multi-million-dollar grant. And we've been running that for years. So we are trying to fight crime in all the areas with the school department and through our drug addiction program and the community policing that we brought up. But again, the police department really needs more money, and again, a lot of people are against that. They talk about an audit here and all that, but you know, when the audit was important, but there's a lot of things that were lacking in the city. Treasurer was one, auditor was one, and so you got to have these checks and balances. And if you don't have the right people in the right spot, or you lack thereof, you have a problem, and finance problems. The next chief, I think his first thing he should do is training, have a very good, strong training program, And I think he should have the ability to get the funds that he needs to run the police department. And that's important. And he has to have the ability to be a good communicator with the city council and try to get the proper funds, the proper amount of policemen on the street. One of the biggest problems in Holyoke is they don't have enough policemen. And then that's basically it.
My turn. So as personnel, I just want to clarify, most of the folks up here are on the Community Police Advisory Board. Jenny Rivera, City Councilor Rivera, and I were added to the committee to help with the search. So they've been here for a couple years on the advisory board committee. Jenny and I are added for the search, as well as Russ. As the personnel director, I would like to see a chief that holds everybody accountable, has systems in place, so that, like Captain Fletcher said, there's checks and balances. When there's expectations are clear and everyone's held accountable and treated the same, there's really no room for big errors. Police are safer, community safer, the city's safer. As a resident, I share some of the same concerns. I've never felt unsafe here, I can say that. There are things that need to be fixed, but to Ms. Teresa's point, it's a community effort, so residents also, and Meg's, residents also have to be involved too. We're only as good as our community is. I could say a lot more, but I'm gonna share the stage with my colleagues here.
Like most of you, I agree with, 99% of what has been said here today. Strategic planning, I do want to see our department accredited. I think that would bring us to a place where a lot of the issues that we currently have would either fall to the wayside or be resolved as we move towards that. I do want to see someone who is going to work on the culture, because I do agree that we do have some issues that have been a little pervasive in the department. And so I think having fresh face at the top, someone who's going to come in, be really community oriented and open-minded as we move forward is going to be really helpful. So that's what I'm looking for in a new chief.
So yeah, I'm looking for a little bit of everything. So I want tough on crime. I want community. I want to see it all. I don't think there's, one perfect match. Chief Scott was tough on crime. I don't want to see, a friendly, big softy. I want to see it all. I think you have to have a little bit of everything. I don't think you can be just one thing, you have to have everything. So I think there has to be some changes. I used to tell Chief Pratt at our meetings, there's always room for improvement, with the audit, he would say, things look good. And I'm like, well, there's always room for improvement. So, we used to talk about the audit and we'd look at the audit report and we talk about things that need to be fixed and what we can work on and what's being worked on. And there's always room for improvement. And so I want to see a chief that's willing to work on things and not complacent and not look at things and say, well, this is fine. So I want to see a chief that's willing to work on things. So that's what I'm looking at, whether it be internal or external. So that's not something, I see things on social media where it's, oh, I want an internal only, I want an external only. That's not what, that's neither here nor there. It's whoever's right for the job. So that's my 2 cents.
Hello all, Jenny Rivera, Ward 1 City Councilor. One of the wards, tough words. But I also live in Ward 1. I've been a resident of Holyoke for 50 somewhat years. Do I feel safe here? Of course I do. I can't say I feel I've walked all of Holyoke. I've walked every single ward. I feel safe. But what I'm looking for our new chief would be leadership, vision, integrity, ethics, community engagement. Because I feel if living in Holyoke all my life, where we had our little spots where there was for the police officers. I think if we have more police officers on the street, the crime level is going to go down. But sometimes I'm at home, I see it. I don't see police officers going by. So I live in a tough ward. I work in a tough ward. I see it in front of my job. I see it behind my job. So I think we really, really need to start, and I've said it before, the engagement. We really, really need the community engagement, and it's a tough job. This new chief is going to come in. He's going to come into a tough job. Holyoke is a little bit tough, but like I said, I feel safe in Holyoke, but we need that leadership, and we need a lot of community engagement from our Holyoke Police Department. Thank you.
Rosanna, you got the mic.
Izzy, can you hold the mic for her in case we have to cut it off?
So, for me, it's a combination of a lot of things. I think community is very important. One, because I have a son, and my son, even though he's light-skinned, he still represents my community and what I look like. And I want him to feel comfortable to, if something happens or if he's in a situation, to go to the police. Because I think a lot of times people see the police as a bad thing, and that's not always the case. And the reason they see it that way, because they're only seeing them when they're arresting somebody, when they're pulling somebody over, when they're searching the car. And that's not something, yes, it has to be done, but that's not something that I want the community to only focus on, right? Because if somebody breaks into your car, who are you gonna call? Exactly my point. So you need to have that relationship. But I also would like the next chief to be somebody who's level-headed, right? Because I think Mr. Rivera made a good point. You're gonna get people that are gonna push and say things and provoke you, and you have to keep that cool. You wear a badge of honor. You have a lot of power. So your demeanor is gonna reflect on the whole team, right? On the whole police department. So, and also I would like to see in the new chief somebody who's not afraid to invest in the police department, right? We need the trainings. You need the resources. You need certain things in order to perform better. And you have to be from the community. Like, I know some people be like, as long as you get the job, then I understand that. But to me, it's like, if someone can relate to the community, I think things can be run much smoother. But for the most part, I think somebody who's level-headed, somebody who's okay with investing within their own department, and somebody who's okay saying, no, you're wrong, holding their colleague for accountability, which sometimes, it's like, oh, everybody says, the cops are our family, they stick together. But in reality, sometimes you gotta hold each other accountable. Because if you're holding me accountable, I need to hold you accountable. And I want my son to grow up in a city where he feels safe and not feel he's gonna be targeted because he's wearing a certain type of clothing or because his hair is a certain type of way. So that's just my opinion.
Wait 1 second. We have one more committee member.
Hi, everyone. So I believe that our next chief should be someone who comes from a background of much knowledge how to run the department inside, as well as a well-balanced network in the community, so there's transparency between the community and within the department. We are here to serve the community, and we are here to listen to the community and listen to the community's needs. So they should be open-minded and kind of just, I guess, listen. Community comes first. That's who we're here for. So they should be open-minded and just work well with the city departments themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Dorothy, you're awesome. I want to, as my final comment, when there was that shooting that resulted in the death of a baby in the belly of the mother, I thought the police department did a great job in pursuing the people who, I guess I should say, allegedly are guilty of it. And like that, I've seen that a lot. And it's because of, I read the news and I see, I know that these are very hard, very difficult jobs to do. I can't even imagine being a police officer and witnessing the worst of human beings, while at the same time, you know, they want you, they don't want you. You know, it's like, it could be crazy making, right? And so I just want to close out my part in showing respect for the Holyoke Police Department and the next leader showing respect for the police department also, and working with everybody, no matter the rank, and being very active, not sort of sitting back behind the desk. And I'm not saying that anybody has done that. I'm just saying I would not like to see that happen. And as a reporter, both police chiefs that I have had to interview were always available to me. There was never a problem. And I thought this is really great, because not all cities have a police chief that's, you know, when a reporter calls and say, hey, can I come over and interview you about X topic? And they say, sure, you know, you can come over right now, or, you know, or tomorrow at 4. And I think that has a really good partnership between media and the community and the police department. And Patty, thank you for your idea, totally stealing it. For the next chief, I would love if that next chief were available to Holyoke Media, that I could interview him or her every month to just like ask the chief. And that's what I do with the state rep, what I do with the mayor, and with the state senator. And it's basically a 15-minute conversation, free flow. So thank you all for serving. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have any last-minute comments before we close out this session? Please.
How many people on this committee are not associated with the city but are just residents? Okay, you are? You are. Okay, all right, thank you. I would have liked to have seen more diversity on this committee in terms of community. And I do hope that whoever the chief is, that they really do understand that we do have a very diverse community. And there's not just, there's different ethnic groups here in this community. We may have smaller numbers, but we are here. And when we speak about treating everybody the same way, I think we have to definitely take that into consideration. And we have to look at ourselves as a community and see what we do and how we're represented on boards and different kind of committees as well. So we have a lot of work to do as well.
I mean, I agree with you. Just to clarify, when 4 of us were the original, and when we started, we filled a pretty large table, probably close to 20 of us, and it was very diverse. And then I'm sorry?
2021.
July 2021. Acting Mayor Murphy appointed us. He interviewed us, at least he interviewed me. I'm assuming everybody else went through the same process. And it was a pretty large group of us. And then little by little, it dwindled down to like less than 10 at some point. And then, yeah.
We're giving our free time. Yeah. And it was something that we're advertising like in the whole city, so a lot of people came in.
So.
Well, I'm very active in the city too, but I don't even remember it being advertised. And that's fine, but whoever all those people were who were at the table, did we do any kind of reach back out to them?
I did not. Did we reach out to the people that left the team? I did not.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But I mean, that's something that we can take a lesson from too, is that sometimes people come and for whatever reason they leave. You know, how do we reach back out?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I don't know how. I don't know why people left. I just assume it was their personal preference. I think Acting Mayor Murphy said, I think it was a personal reason.
that he did this?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It was on the news. That's how I got involved. I was having my morning coffee and it was posted on 22 News, and I reached out to the mayor's office and he said, come in, and I had an interview. I brought my resume and that was it.
I just wanted to clarify, because of what you asked, that I actually was on this committee before I started working for the city of Holyoke. And so this comes first, then the job was secondary, just because I know that that's what you were kind of looking for. So, but yeah, we've all been together since the four original, since 2021. And then we've had, it's unfortunate that we've had a lot of people drop off, and it was varying things. Some people couldn't make the commitment, because we were doing it once a month. And then others just didn't find that it was worthy of their time. So I did speak to one or two people after they left. But I think that now that we've moved forward, I feel like I hope that we've proven to them that this is worth it, that it may be incremental steps, but that we're at least moving forward.
We have one more question.
It really isn't a question, it's just a comment. I want to join the other people who've thanked all of you, because I know you're putting a lot of work into this. It's a lot of time. I guess I do have a question. I was looking on my phone at the police department website, and I don't see a link to the report that was done. It used to be there. Is that just because, I think, since it's been mentioned many times, if people are watching this broadcast later, they may want to go take a look at that. So if someone could just let the public know how they can find that report and see things that have been updated, I think that would be helpful. The audit, yeah.
I can't touch that.
Don't fight over them. No. So I just wanted to say thank you guys too as well. For me, it's just about trying to get like the most qualified candidate, right? And making sure that you guys understand what I'm trying to reach out about, right? And at the same time, what I hear about from constituents within the communities. I don't no longer live in the tougher communities, but those are the communities that I was raised in. And not for nothing, but everyone in Holyoke is impacted by one thing that happens, and no matter what ward you live in. You can live in Ward 7, and if someone in Ward 1 passes away or gets arrested, more than likely it impacts you, and you don't even realize it in the long term. And I found that to be true many times here in Holyoke. So thank you guys for putting in the work, and at the same time, thank for those that have put in the work in the past.
Just to answer your question for everyone here, but also online, if you go to the website holyokepd.org, there's a drop-down menu. If you click on news, it should be the second one down. The original audit report is on the city's website, not the Holyoke Police Department. We have the update, what we're doing to update it, and then the original is if you go to holyoke.org, it will be in there.
Sorry. It may be in one of the mayor's messages, but there is a link, and we can maybe work with Holyoke Media to share it with this video.
Yeah, I do see one August 2024, so that's the one that was just updated, response to department-wide assessment. Under news. Thank you.
So I'd just like to take a moment and thank everyone, the search committee that's here, the mayor's office, the city councilors that made themselves available, both being here and being online, for the residents that were online. This was a great exchange of information. It's important for the search committee to hear from the people that live in the city what you're looking for. At the end of the day, the police department works for the people. And we answer to the people. We all answer to everyone. The officers answer to sergeants, sergeants to lieutenants, lieutenants to captains, captains to chief, the chief to the mayor to the council members, and to the voters. Oh, and on and on. It's a big circle. So it was a great exchange of information. This is going to be recorded. You'll be able to watch it again. And we were able to walk away with some good information. And on a personal note, I'd like to thank you all for taking some time. You took an hour out of a busy day. All of you are busy. To drive down here, to come here, or to log on and sit here long enough to hear the whole thing. I truly appreciate that. We don't get a lot of people today that are interested and want to be vested in their community. So to see this, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here today. We're going to hang out here for a few minutes. If you have any questions or anything afterwards, feel free to come on up. So my boss over here just reminded me. So right now, the announcements, the job posting is out. After the job posting comes back in and the deadline is met, then the committee is going to review the resumes. Then a determination will be made who goes on to the next phase. The next phase is going to be response to written essay questions. Those essay questions are going to be based on the city and policing in today's environment. Policing has changed. It had to change. It's changing for the good, and it's still changing. We don't do it the way we did it 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. So there's going to be questions, essay-style questions that the chief is going to have to be responsible for answering. And the committee is going to look at those. Then there's going to be oral interviews. We'll call the list down. There's going to be oral interviews. The oral interviews will be based on questions, again, based on the city and policing in Holyoke. After the oral interviews, there's actually going to be an in-person assessment center that's going to be done somewhere in the city. That date has yet to be seen. We haven't set that date just yet. So the process is still ongoing. It's a lengthy process. It's a very thorough process. This is just one of the many stages of the process. Please.
Will the interviews be on, when you do interviews for captains and lieutenants, it's in the city council chambers? Will that be there? Again, sorry. Usually when the mayor is going to be appointing, well, it's actually civil service, a lieutenant, a captain, a sergeant, they go before the mayor, and I believe Kelly, and I'm not sure who the other people are on that committee, but it's televised, and I want to make sure that that's happened again when you start interviewing.
Right, so depending on the candidates, the mayor would like us to bring forth 3 top candidates. So those 3 candidates will be interviewed publicly, probably in city council chambers, but the other candidates prior to that will be interviewed by this committee, but it won't be a public thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Time frame for all of this? When are you expecting a police chief in place?
So after we go through this whole process, once the deadline is met, which is coming up for the announcement posting, now keep this in mind, if we don't see qualified candidates, we're going to repost, and we'll keep reposting until we get qualified candidates. So we got to wait till the deadline for the announcement is done. Once that announcement is done, anywhere from approximately 2 months, let's say, it takes to get, because we have to get all of us together, and then we have to start this process. So approximately 2 months. Now keep in mind, we have to have discussions with the mayor, but if it's an outside candidate, there's a background investigation. There's a required medical and a psychological evaluation that has to be done. So there's more steps on top of that as well. So I would say at a minimum it's 2 months. Folks, thank you very much, and thank you for your time tonight.